Folks, it's Mike DeSilvis with In the News segment for April the 13th, 2014. Boy, a victory happened yesterday on the 12th of April, 2014 in Nevada. There's a guy there named Clive Bundy whose family's owned that land for several generations. Because they had the land rights, they have the water rights, and they have the right to grow, and they had cattle. Well, guess what? The feds and all, as a land grab that we were telling you about, were forcing people off their land. There were 59 other families that were previously dismissed from their land. And, of course, the old dinosaur media spun it like, oh, well, he didn't pay his taxes, like a big dummy. Because he didn't have to pay taxes because that land was given to him by his parents and grandparents and so on and so on. And in that country, when you have those rights in place of open range, the government can't come in and do that. But see, the government will try to play with the people in the news and try to say these kinds of things and spin this propaganda. So when people don't know their rights about land ownership and things, that's why the government can try to do these things. And see, it's like how countries get taken over is because people don't know their law about land rights. So anyway, the feds, along with the BLM soldiers that were hired, that were once good guys, but they're working for the country, and now I call them the thug government militia because they're working for them, were hired there to try to force those people off that land. And they were determined. Over 1,000 people showed up in Nevada. They came through, the people came through, and God also showed up. I know he did that day. Yesterday, he showed up because those people, when they're yelling with their megaphones, we're going to kill you, we're going to shoot you if you keep coming further and go past this point. These people just kept going. They said, you go ahead and shoot us. They gave them the opportunity to shoot first. Everybody had their guns, veterans alike, that were on the side of the Bundys, Clive Bundy, protecting him and his family and livestock. And of course, you know, I mean, it was, you could just feel the electricity that was in the air because there was a major event, a victory that happened because they just kept marching forward and going over the barriers and cutting down the fences, and all of a sudden the stockade, the guards, you know, that were working for the thug militia that was working for the Agenda 1021 that was put in the law since 1995. They all backed off and retreated and got in their vans and they let the cattle go. They were saying they were not going to let them go. Of course, a number of them died, but the ones that were still alive, they released the cattle because the farmer said, if you don't release those cattle, they yelled it to them, we're going to come over there and get them ourselves. They said, no, we'll release them. And so that's what they did. They didn't wait 4 hours. They did it. I mean, that was a victory because they were prepared to shoot these people, but these people didn't stand down because they had to draw a line in the sand. Remember I said, you have to draw a line in that sand sometimes, and that was one of those times when people were land grabbing land that don't belong to them. The government's trying to forcefully take it from someone when it's rightfully their land that they owned, that's been on a deed, because the governor in that area in Nevada got the record and saw that he really did honestly own that land. There was no back taxes or anything, and they were trying to just take that land, swoop it out from like they do with 53 other families. But he was the last man standing, Mr. Clive Bundy, and God showed up and helped him to be delivered from that. Now, I'm sure they're going to try to come back again because this is a multi-billion-dollar deal that was signed with China. China is doing a big land grab here in Europe, in Africa, and other places of the world. This is all going on, too. In the UK, it's all going on. In London, everywhere. And so it's now starting to happen here in the United States. So we're going to see a lot more of these things happening. But I want you to listen to what Alex Jones says. We got him here potted up. So we'll go ahead and go to him for
off the chart history. And by the grace of God and people's prayers, a lot of folks, I see the comments on InfoWars with our live stream, it was just, I'm praying. And God helps those that helps themselves. People took action. This was incredible.
Our partner InfoWars.
And it shatters the mainstream media. It shatters the government. I'll explain why it's so big. But you know why it's big.
You know why it's big? Because God showed up. That's why it's big, you know? And just a little bit of that, we're going to get to the video here in a few minutes as a commercial. But I want you to really listen to this footage because it's audio. Because basically what I described is exactly what happened in the video. And it was awesome. You should go to Infowars.com to watch that video yesterday. It should be up there now. You can watch it for free. I'm going to try to get it out on Facebook and LinkedIn and everywhere else like I do with my stuff. This is earth-breaking history. A victory. God showed up and America basically won that victory yesterday. Over 1,000 people showed up for Clive Bundy in Nevada. He has over 170-some-thousand acres, and he has 400 head of cattle, or 800 head of cattle, and they took about 200 or 300 head, and he got most of them back. A lot of people have gotten out of the ranch business because of all these regulations and taxes that are dishonest. It's just a way to put them out of business because they want you to be domesticated by going to the box stores like Walmart and other big box stores, that sell in Costco's and Sam's Club. All them want the money. They don't want you to be doing stuff independently. So they're trying to grab all the land because they know there's a lot of resources underneath those land too. It's about money. It's about power. It's about taking away from people, and that's what we need. More Americans to stand up to these people and say no. And you don't do this by yourself. You need to have groups organized to do this together, like Clive Bundy had show up. Right at the last minute, people came through, and that's exactly what happened yesterday. And God showed up and delivered that man. He's a Christian man, and he got his land back. He got most of his cattle back. And I know they're going to try this again because they want to put over a $100 billion solar farm out there on all those other lands that they stole from 53 other families. They all just fled and left. He got scared and hightailed and run, but not Clive Bundy. He stayed. And that's what those other families should have done. So, that shows you kudos and thank God and thank you that we can still win this thing if we all band together and say no. Don't fight over races. Don't fight over other things. Don't do any of that, whether we're black or white, Muslim, Puerto Rican, whatever we are Americans. And we need to stand up and say no and do it together as an organization of peace, bring our weapons, and we need to say no, and we'll give them the opportunity to fire a shot. If they fire, then you fire on them. But if a lot of times, like they did yesterday, they backed down, they got in their thing and hightailed out of there. Of course, CNN and the other media, they just spin it off and were dishonest to their viewers and didn't even tell all what happened there. That goes to show you how dead and how inaccurate and how corrupted and how bought off that media has begun. And have begun because they are corrupt. We are the real media. Me, Alex Jones, Drudge, and a lot of other people are doing the right thing and telling you the truth about what really happened. And telling you all what has happened. And that's what the media, that's what being a journalist is all about. And I'm not even there, and I know what happened. And I feel the energy and electricity, ladies and gentlemen, in the air, like George Washington had. It's just this electricity of deliverance and liberty and freedom. Freedom was all right there yesterday. Because those people that were on the side, you're talking about veterans, Navy SEALs that were on their side, that were going to fight these feds along with the BLM soldiers, the thugs militia I'm telling you about. That's what they ought to be called, because that's what they are. That were hired by Agenda 1021, the United Nations, So, they were going to have a major showdown there. They gave them an opportunity to fire, but they backed down and hide down, put their tails and legs, left out there and let them have the cattle back. It's just so wonderful. We're going to see many more victories like this, ladies and gentlemen, if people just band together and stand up for what is right, because that's what we need to do. This is Michael DeSilvis. InfoWars, let's get that information out, and let's deliver America and bring her back to where she needs to be, free, and remain free. So Michael DeSilvis from New Hunter Church of Christ and the Freedom Network. See you later with another update.